Today's April 6th, and today's quote is entitled, "The mind won't easily surrender," and you know that because you have a mind, but we'll discuss it anyway. When we decide to become devotees, our minds do not agree. The mind goes on as if nothing had changed. You have that experience? I think we still have this experience, not just when we became devotees, but perhaps more obvious. I decided to become a devotee. My mind didn't necessarily decide to become a devotee. My dear mind, why don't you become a devotee also? I've decided. Could you decide also? Because if you decided, our lives would be, we'd get along a lot better, our lives would be a lot easier. Even today, often, we decide that we would want to go left, and our mind says, not me, I'm going right. That's the nature of the mind, right? So, how do we deal with that? Well, Prabhupada told us how to deal with that. He said, we have to learn the art of neglecting the mind. Why do we have to learn the art of neglecting the mind? This really is an interesting phenomenon, that the mind, you would think, because we're soul, we're driving the chariot of the body, you would think the mind would just do what we tell it to. But the mind is a conditioned entity. I call it an entity because the mind has a mind of its own. And it's very interesting. What's even more interesting, that we can talk to the mind. We're having conversations with our mind. Why? Because the mind is conditioned and we're trying to recondition it. So Prabhupada says, neglect the mind. You wouldn't want to neglect your mind if you were Krishna conscious. Obviously not. But when the mind is conditioned, sometimes we have to neglect it. Because conditioning, just think of conditioning as habit. So we have habits. Some of the habits we have are not good for us. But habits are unconscious. So think of the mind as a program of unconscious actions. So it's habitually thinks in a certain way. For example, one of my disciples wrote that she was in Mayapur and she went away to a nice place in India, and that place was so nice it aroused the desire to enjoy materially. Why did it arouse that desire? Because we're conditioned to be enjoyers, and because we're so habituated to be enjoyers, when we get an environment in which we can enjoy, what do we think about? Yahoo! Whoopee! Let's enjoy. That's our conditioning. So the mind naturally is operating due to the programming from many past lifetimes. So as soon as we get around anything that's enjoyable, the mind says, let's get down to business. Let's go to work and enjoy this. So we have to learn to neglect the mind, and we have to learn that this is past conditioning which is entering into the present realm, and we have to remind ourselves, my dear mind, I have something to explain to you. I've decided to become a devotee, so thanks for all the encouragement to enjoy this and that, but I've given that up, so if you could just join the new program and go along with me, life would be a lot better. And the point is, it is a program, so we're reprogramming our mind to go along with a new program called Surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharmam Parityaja. That's the new program, mind. Sarvadharmam Parityaja. You can give up trying to enjoy. I don't need your help with that. I needed your help with it in the past. I don't need it now. It's all over. Let's move on. And we've got a new program. So we have to learn how to neglect the mind. We have to learn how not to pay attention to thoughts which are not supporting our Krishna consciousness. Don't get depressed by them. Don't focus on them. Just let them pass out. Go on. Deflate them. Burn them up. Better just neglect them. And then focus on your Krishna conscious thoughts. That's the way it works. Always, always, always neglect those thoughts which don't support you. And always, always, always let your mind know, this is the program, surrender. If you don't surrender, you get neglected. Hare Krishna.